Stop. Just stop. You are tired of the invisible war you fight every single day, the one where you give your all and get back crumbs, where your kindness is mistaken for weakness and your patience is taken for granted. Let me tell you something you already feel in your bones, but maybe haven't given words to yet. There comes a moment in life, this moment right now, when you realize with chilling clarity that you've been too nice, too forgiving, too available. You've been the one always adjusting, always accommodating, always saying it's okay when it's absolutely not. And what did it truly get you? A hollow feeling in your chest, disrespect whispered behind your back, neglect from those you showed up for, people treating your heart like a convenience store, open 24/7, no payment required. You feel that emptiness, don't you? You've been bending over backward for people who wouldn't even lift a finger for you. You've drained your own well to water deserts that could never bloom. But today, that stops. Today, the cycle breaks. Today, you make one decision, just one seismic shift inside you, and everything changes. You do this once, and I promise you, the way people treat you will never be the same again. Think about that. One decision away from a different life. There comes a time when you have to make a choice that defines your entire future. Do you keep justifying yourself to people who don't even care to understand you? Or do you stand firm in your truth, unshakable, and let them figure it out on their own? You've spent too much of your life explaining, apologizing, over-clarifying why you did what you did, why you said what you said, why you chose what you chose. And for what? For people who had already made up their minds about you before you even opened your mouth. They weren't listening to understand. They were waiting to reply. You twist yourself into knots, contorting your soul, trying to be understood, trying to be accepted. But the more you explain, the less they respect you. The more you justify, the less they listen. It's a trap. Because people don't respect explanations. They respect certainty. They respect someone who knows exactly who they are and refuses to defend it. Every time you explain yourself, you hand them your power on a silver platter. You tell them their approval matters more than your conviction. You show them you're willing to question yourself just to make them comfortable. But you have to ask yourself, deep down, why do you need to be understood by people who don't even take the time to understand themselves? Why do you need validation from people who barely know what they want? Let that sink in. You've spent so much energy, precious, life-giving energy, trying to make sure people don't misunderstand you, yet they still do. Not because you didn't explain it well enough, but because they never truly wanted to understand you in the first place. Their misunderstanding was a choice, and you know what? That's not your problem anymore. The day you stop explaining yourself is the day you set yourself free. Free from the weight of expectations that were never yours to carry. Free from the frustration of repeating yourself to people who never intended to hear you. Free from the exhaustion of trying to prove yourself to people who already decided what they wanted to believe about you. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop seeking permission to be who you are. And that's when everything changes. People might not like it, they might get offended, but they will learn. They will learn that you're not someone who can be guilt-tripped, swayed, or manipulated into debating your own existence. Because the truth is, the more you explain, the more you invite questioning. The more you defend, the more you signal doubt. And when people sense doubt, they push harder. They poke holes, they challenge you. But when you stand firm, when you say what you mean and leave it at that, people recognize certainty, and certainty is power. It forces people to think twice before questioning you. It forces them to accept your decisions, not because they agree, but because they respect the strength behind them. Think about the strongest people you know. Do they explain themselves? Do they justify every step they take? No. They move with purpose. They make decisions, and they stand by them. And because of that, people respect them. They may not always like them, but they respect them. And that is the difference between a person who is in control of their life and a person who is constantly being controlled by the opinions of others. You have to ask yourself, are you living for yourself or for their approval? Because every time you explain yourself, every time you justify your actions, you are seeking permission, and you don't need permission to be who you are. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you choose to protect your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you set boundaries. You don't owe anyone an explanation for walking away from situations that no longer serve you. Your choices are yours. Your life is yours. And the people who truly respect you will never demand an explanation. They will never make you feel like you have to defend yourself for choosing what's best for you. But the ones who do, the ones who ask, why did you do that? Or, are you sure? Or, what will people think? They are the ones who never respected you to begin with. They only respected the version of you that was easy to manipulate. There is nothing wrong with making a decision and standing by it. There is nothing wrong with walking away from something and not feeling the need to explain why. You don't owe anyone an apology for choosing yourself. And the moment you stop explaining yourself, you take your power back. You take back every ounce of energy you wasted trying to make people understand you. And you finally start living on your own terms. You take back your confidence. You take back your authority over your own life, and people will feel that shift. They'll see it in the way you move, in the way you speak, in the way you no longer seek their approval. Some people will be uncomfortable with your silence. They'll try to provoke a response. They'll try to guilt trip you into explaining yourself. They'll say things like, "You've changed," or "You think you're better than us now." Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them create their own stories. Because the people who truly matter will already know who you are, and the ones who don't, they were never meant to understand you anyway. When you stop explaining yourself, you become a mystery. And there is power in mystery. People start to wonder about you. They start to respect your decisions, not because they agree with them, but because they recognize that you are not someone who can be easily swayed. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability demands attention. It demands respect. It forces people to think twice before questioning you, before crossing your boundaries, before assuming they have the right to dictate your choices. And let's be honest, how much time have you wasted trying to explain yourself to people who never really cared to understand? How much energy have you spent defending your choices to people who would have criticized you no matter what you did? If this is hitting home, if you're nodding your head, then promise yourself you'll watch this to the end. This is just the beginning. It's time to reclaim that energy. It's time to stop explaining and start living. Because the truth is, people don't need to understand you. They just need to respect you, and respect isn't earned through explanations. It's earned through action. So from this moment forward, move differently, speak differently. Stop seeking validation. Stop offering justifications. Make your decisions and let them stand. And watch how the world starts treating you differently. There is no greater insult than being ignored. Let that feeling land for a moment. The sting of it, the burn. It's not just being overlooked. It's being made to feel like a ghost in your own life. By someone you gave your time, your energy, your heart to. It stings like a fresh cut. It burns like a slow fever you can't break. It makes you question your very worth, your place in the world. You sit there in the quiet, replaying every interaction, every shared laugh, every vulnerable moment, wondering what you did wrong, what magic word you could have said differently, how you could have twisted yourself into a more acceptable shape to make them see you, appreciate you, respect you. You know this ritual, don't you? The painful replay. But let me tell you a hard truth. Someone who ignores you, someone who overlooks your presence like a forgotten piece of furniture, someone who acts as if your existence is an afterthought. They do not deserve your energy. They do not deserve your time, your concern, or your effort. You need to understand this, not just in your head, but in your soul. Every second you spend trying to get the attention of someone who has already dismissed you is a second you violently steal from your own future. You are robbing your own potential. There is nothing noble about chasing after people who don't care whether you stay or leave. There is nothing dignified about constantly proving your value to someone who refuses to acknowledge it. It's like trying to sell water to a person drowning in the ocean. You deserve better. You ache for better. But you will never get better if you keep pouring your energy into people who have already decided that you are not a priority. Every unanswered message, every ignored call, every moment of silence you're left hanging in, it's not a mystery. It's a message in itself. And the message is clear, brutal, and simple. They do not value you. Ask yourself, why are you still paying for a meal you never received? And if they don't value you, why are you still giving them your energy? Why are you still feeding a connection that has already withered and died? You're watering a dead plant, hoping for a different outcome, and all you get is root rot. You need to understand something that will change everything. Your energy is your currency. It's your life force. It's the capital you use to build your dreams. And where you invest it determines what you get in return. You wouldn't invest your life savings into a bankrupt company. So why invest your soul into a bankrupt relationship? Invest in people who invest in you. Pour into those who pour back into you. Love those who see you, who hear you, who respect your presence. And those who don't, let them go. Not with the dramatic slam of the door, not with anger, not with resentment, but with the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who knows their worth. The way a lion ignores the bark of a small dog. The hardest lesson you will ever learn is that not everyone you care about will care about you the same way. And that is not your fault. It is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their capacity or their inability to appreciate what's right in front of them. Some people will only recognize your value when you are no longer available. Some people will only see your importance when they can no longer reach you. They only want the sun when it starts to snow. And that is why you must withdraw your energy, not to punish them, not to manipulate them, but to protect yourself, to protect your heart, to protect your mind, to protect your peace. Because every time you extend your energy to someone who ignores you, you are betraying yourself. You are telling yourself that their lack of effort is acceptable. You are telling yourself that their silence is something you must endure. But you don't have to. You don't have to sit there waiting for someone to realize your worth. You don't have to keep giving to someone who only takes. You don't have to keep trying to explain yourself to someone who has already decided not to hear you. Your worth isn't up for debate. Your value isn't something to be proven. It simply is. And the ones who can see it won't need an explanation. Think about that. The right people just see you. Let me ask you something. How many times have you reached out to someone only to be met with a coldness that froze you from the inside out? How many times have you fought to hold on to relationships that the other person didn't even care enough to maintain? How many times have you begged, overextended, and lost precious pieces of yourself just trying to keep someone in your life? And what did it leave you with? A pile of pain, a fog of confusion, a shadow of doubt. It made you question your own worth. But the truth is, you were never the problem. You were more than enough. You were simply giving your heart to the wrong people. People who became comfortable taking you for granted. People who knew you would be there, no matter how little they gave. But that ends today. Today you make a different choice. You choose to pull back your energy. You choose to protect your peace. You choose to stop forcing connections that were never meant for you. And when you do that, when you finally withdraw, everything becomes crystal clear. It's like a fog lifting. You start to see who was truly there for you and who was only around when it was convenient. You realize that the people who value you will never make you question your place in their life. You won't have to chase them, beg them, or convince them. They will meet you halfway without you ever having to ask. And the ones who don't, they will feel your absence like a sudden winter. They'll notice the energy they used to take for granted is no longer available to them. Some might even try to come back. Some might try to find a way back into your life. But by then, you'll have changed. You'll no longer be the person willing to settle for crumbs. You will have learned that your energy, your time, and your heart are sacred, and not everyone deserves access to them. Understand this fundamental law of human nature. People value what they have to earn. The easier you make yourself available, the less they appreciate you. It's human nature. We don't cherish what we get for free. But when you pull back, when you stop reaching out first, when you stop being the one who always tries, you shift the entire dynamic. You take your power back. Suddenly, the same people who once ignored you start wondering why you're gone. They start realizing your presence was a privilege, not a guarantee, and that's when you'll see the truth laid bare. They'll either step up or they'll disappear. Either way, you win. Either way, you are free. If this is speaking to your soul, if you're ready to make this shift, hit that subscribe button. Your journey to reclaiming your power is just getting started, and we're going to walk this path together. There is nothing more painful than chasing people who don't see your value. But there is nothing more powerful than standing in your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than mutual effort. You are not needy. You are not desperate. You are not unworthy. You are someone who deserves to be loved, respected, and appreciated fully and freely. And if someone can't recognize that, they have no place in your life. No more explaining, no more convincing, no more overextending. Pull back your energy and watch how quickly the world adjusts. Watch how quickly people who took you for granted start craving your attention. And watch how for the first time you no longer feel the need to give it away. Silence. It's one of the most powerful weapons you possess, yet it's the most profoundly misunderstood force in human connection. People see silence and they mistake it for weakness. They interpret it as surrender. They think you've got nothing left to say. But you and I know the truth, don't we? Real silence isn't emptiness. It's strength. It is discipline. It is ultimate control. It's the calm eye of the hurricane. When you learn to embrace silence, you stop reacting to every provocation. You stop offering explanations to those who don't deserve them. You stop giving people free, all-access passes to your mind, your emotions, your power. You become unpredictable. And in a world that craves predictability, that is intimidating. When they don't know what you're thinking, they can't manipulate you. When they can't read your emotional weather, they can't control you, and that is what forces real, earned respect. Most people waste their precious energy arguing, explaining, proving, just to win validation from people who don't even deserve to hear their side of the story. But the real power, the king's move, lies in saying nothing at all. Think about it. When was the last time you won an argument by talking more? Silence forces people to sit with their own thoughts, their own echoes. It forces them to wonder, to speculate, to fill the void with their own insecurities. It creates mystery, and mystery demands attention. The less you say, the more power you hold. The less you explain, the more people respect what little you choose to reveal. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it holds up a mirror to their own insecurities. They expect you to explain, to defend, to engage in their drama. And when you don't, they feel the terrifying weight of your absence. Your silence becomes a judgment they can't escape. Remember this, silence speaks louder than anything you could ever say. And once you master the art of silence, you stop chasing after respect and you start commanding it. Silence tells the world that you are in control. It shows them you aren't desperate for attention, validation, or approval. It signals that you know your worth, and you don't need to prove it to anyone. Think back to the last time someone tried to provoke you. Maybe they insulted you, trying to get a rise. Maybe they disrespected you, testing your boundaries. Maybe they said something just to see how you'd react, to see if they still had a hook in you. What did you do? Did you fire back? Did you explain yourself? Did you argue, trying to win a battle that was rigged from the start? And what did it leave you with? More frustration, more wasted energy, more doubt. Now imagine if you had stayed silent. Imagine if you had just looked them in the eye, absorbed their words like a stone absorbs the rain, and said nothing. Imagine how much more powerful that would have been. Because silence forces people to second-guess themselves. It makes them question their own behavior. It leaves them wondering what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you know that they don't. There's a reason why the strongest people speak the least. They don't waste words, they don't seek validation, and they sure don't argue to prove a point. They watch, they listen, they calculate like a chess master. And when they do speak, their words hit differently, because their silence taught everyone around them to listen. Silence commands attention. Silence makes people lean in. Silence forces them to take you seriously. Most people are terrified of silence because silence exposes the truth. It shows you who respects you and who was only around for what they could take. It reveals who cares about you and who was only comfortable using you. When you pull back your energy, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop filling the silence with justifications, you finally see people for who they are. You see who reaches out when you're no longer doing all the work. You see who stays when you no longer make it easy for them. Silence is the ultimate test, and it always brings out the naked truth. And when you learn how to use it, you gain something most people will never have: clarity. Because there will always be people who push you, provoke you, bait you into reacting. That's when your silence becomes your strongest weapon. When you don't react, you strip their power away. When you don't explain yourself, you leave them questioning themselves, not you. That's how you win. Not by arguing, not by over-explaining, but by discipline, by knowing when to speak and when to say absolutely nothing. Most people never master this. They feel uncomfortable with empty spaces. They talk to fill the silence. They argue just to be heard. They explain endlessly just to be understood. But the ones who understand true power know silence can't be twisted. It can't be argued with. It can't be manipulated. Silence stands unshakable, like a mountain. Imagine how different your life would be if you mastered silence, if you stopped reacting to every provocation, if you stopped wasting words on people who don't even listen, if you stopped explaining yourself to people who already made up their mind. Imagine how much stronger, how much more respected, how much more powerful you would feel. There is strength in silence. There is confidence in silence. There is freedom in silence. When you stop responding to nonsense, you stop inviting nonsense into your life. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop asking for permission to be who you are. When you stop reacting, you stop giving your power away. And that is when everything starts to change. That is when people start to treat you differently. That is when they start to respect you, not because you demanded it, not because you explained yourself into exhaustion, but because they can feel your power without you saying a word. They can feel your silence, and that is something no one can ever ignore. If this is resonating with you, if you're ready to master this art, make sure you're subscribed. We're building an army of the unshakable, and I don't want you to miss what comes next. Now, let's talk about your most precious commodity: time. Your time is the most valuable thing you will ever own. It's the currency of your life. Yet, most people treat it like it's endless, like a bottomless well. They waste it on empty conversations that go nowhere, meaningless arguments that solve nothing, and relationships that drain them dry. They give it away like it's nothing, acting as if they have forever to figure it out. But let me tell you something brutal and beautiful. You don't. Time is gold, and once it's gone for good. You can lose money and earn it back. You can miss opportunities and find new ones. But time, once wasted, is lost forever. Every second you spend trying to fix the wrong relationships, argue the wrong arguments, chase after the wrong people, is a second you will never get back. It's a piece of your life you can never reclaim. And one day you'll wake up and realize that the greatest thief in your life wasn't them, it was you. You stole your own time every time you allowed people and situations that didn't deserve you to keep you stuck. Your time is your power. Where you invest it determines the life you build. If you pour it into the wrong people, the wrong distractions, the wrong environments, you will live a life that reflects that emptiness. But if you guard it, if you protect your time like the treasure it is, everything around you will change. You will attract people who respect your time, your energy, your presence, and you will finally live like someone who knows their worth. You will start accomplishing things that once felt impossible. You'll begin to move with purpose, with clarity, with a sense of control over your own life. Because here's the truth, how you spend your time is how you spend your life. And if you're not careful, you'll waste your life trying to please people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared tomorrow. Most people take time for granted. They act like they'll always have more. They say, "I'll do it later," never realizing that later is never promised. They say, "I have time," while every second is quietly slipping away like sand through their fingers. Every moment you spend in the wrong place with the wrong people is a moment stolen from your own future. If you're not intentional about where your time goes, someone else will gladly decide for you. They'll use it, drain it, waste it, and they won't lose a minute of sleep over it. People only respect the boundaries you set. If you treat your time like it's disposable, everyone else will too. Ask yourself this, and be brutally honest. How many hours have you wasted on people who didn't appreciate you? How many days have you spent in environments that did nothing for your growth? How many years have you invested in relationships that never valued you? Was it worth it? What did you gain? Did it make you stronger? Did it push you forward? Did it bring you peace? Or did it leave you feeling drained, frustrated, and lost? If the answer is the latter, then it's time to make a change. It's time to treat your time like gold. It's time to start valuing every second like it's sacred, because it is. The people who succeed in life aren't always the most talented or the most connected. They are the ones who master how to use their time. They don't waste it trying to prove themselves to people who don't matter. They don't give it away to distractions. They don't allow anyone to drain their energy without consequences. They understand that every hour spent on the wrong things is an hour stolen from the right things. That's why they move differently. That's why they don't answer every call, show up to every event, or entertain every person. They are selective, and that's exactly why they are powerful. When you start valuing your time, people will notice. Some will respect you for it, others will resent you because they can no longer use you. But that's the price of self-respect. That's the cost of taking control of your life. And you must be willing to pay it, because if you don't, you'll continue running in circles, feeling like you're giving everything and getting nothing back. And that is no way to live. Your time is gold. It's the most precious resource you'll ever have. And if you don't start treating it that way, one day you'll look back and realize you wasted years on things, people, and situations that never deserved you. Guard it, protect it, invest it wisely, because once it's gone forever. There comes a moment in life when you have to decide, not just in your mind, but in your bones, who you're going to be. Not the edited, diluted version they want you to be, not the convenient, quiet version they expect you to be, but the full, fierce, unapologetic person you are meant to be. And that decision, the one that changes everything, starts with one non-negotiable foundation: self-respect. Because without self-respect, you have nothing but a hollow echo. Without it, you'll let people walk all over you, leaving footprints on your soul. You'll tolerate disrespect as if it's a normal price of admission for love. You'll accept far less than you deserve, all because you never made self-respect the unbreakable law of your life. You'll find yourself constantly looking for validation in the eyes of people who are blind to your light. You'll let others' opinions define your borders. You'll keep shrinking yourself to fit inside boxes you outgrew long ago. But today that ends. Today, you take your power back and you lock it away inside a fortress of your own making. Self-respect isn't something you ask for, you plead for, you hope for. It's something you demand. It's something you enforce with every choice you make. It's something you live by, a code you never break, no matter who likes it and who doesn't. Because the moment you truly start respecting yourself, a pruning must happen. Some people will fall away. Some will call you difficult. Some will say, "You've changed." And you'll look them in the eye and know they're right. You have changed. You have changed because you're done begging for basic decency. You're done being someone's backup plan, their option, their convenience. You're done settling for crumbs when you deserve the entire feast. Making self-respect non-negotiable means cutting the cords to people who don't value you. It means you stop explaining your heart to those who never deserved to hear its rhythm in the first place. It means you raise your standards so high that only the worthy can even see them, and you never lower them just to keep people around who never truly cared. Because the moment you compromise your self-respect is the moment you hand over the keys to your kingdom. And hear me when I say this, let this truth sink into your spirit. The people who truly matter will never ask you to shrink yourself to fit into their small world. They won't require you to abandon your dignity to keep their attention. They will demand you take up more space, not less. Look back one last time at the times you accepted less, at the moments you stayed silent when your soul screamed for you to walk away, at the excuses you made for people who kept showing you again and again that they didn't care. Those moments were not failures. They were lessons carved into your bones. And now you know better. Now your eyes are open. Now it's time to move different. Now it's time to expect more. Now it's time to finally act like someone who knows exactly what they're worth and refuses to accept anything less. What did that old life ever get you? A heart full of pain, disappointment, emptiness, and the worst part, it was never worth the cost. Because the more you tolerated, the less they respected you. The more you gave, the less they valued you. That's the raw truth about people. They will take as much as you allow. They will drain your well if you let them. If you don't set boundaries, if you don't make self-respect a priority, they will walk all over you without a second thought. Making self-respect non-negotiable means knowing your worth so deeply that no storm can shake it. It means refusing to stay in places where you're an afterthought. It means walking away the very first time someone disrespects you, not waiting for it to become a pattern. Ask yourself, what pattern are you done waiting for? Because patterns don't change. People do. And if someone can disrespect you once and get away with it, they will do it again and again. But if you show them from the very start that you're not someone to be played with, they'll think twice before even trying. Some people will test you. They'll push your limits just to see how much you'll take. They'll pretend to care just to see if they can control you. And when they realize they can't, when they hit the wall of your self-respect, they'll call you names. They'll say you're cold. They'll say you're distant. They'll say you've changed. Good. Let them. That's the price of self-respect. And it's a price worth paying because the alternative is a far heavier cost. A life where you're constantly bending, constantly breaking, constantly begging for validation from people who don't even deserve to know you. That's a life of quiet misery, a life of deep regret, a life where you wake up one day and realize you gave everyone else the power to define you and lost yourself in the process. But not anymore. From this moment on, you move differently. Your footsteps will carry a new weight. You speak differently. Your words will carry a new truth. You carry yourself with a level of confidence that makes it clear, without a word, that you are not to be played with. You don't explain your boundaries. You live them. You don't negotiate your standards. You embody them. You don't beg for respect. Because respect isn't something you ask for. It's something you command by the very presence you carry. And when you live it, when you breathe it, when you refuse to compromise it, people have no choice but to recognize it. Self-respect isn't arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing you're enough exactly as you are. It's about understanding that you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. It's about refusing to shrink, to settle, to tolerate anything less than what you deserve. And if that means walking away from certain people, so be it. If that means spending time alone in sacred silence, so be it. If that means disappointing those who only loved you when you were easy to control, so be it. Because losing them is nothing compared to losing yourself. When you make self-respect non-negotiable, everything changes. The very air around you shifts. People start treating you differently. Some will admire you from a distance, others will resent you for your light, but either way, you win. Because either way, you reclaim the most valuable thing you could ever have, your power. And once you get it back, once you feel its weight in your hands, no one can take it from you again. If this journey has rewired your soul, if you feel that fire lit inside you, then pay it forward. Share this with one person who needs to hear this message today. Be the reason someone else finds their strength. There comes a moment when you realize it doesn't matter how much you give, how much you try, how brightly you shine. There will always be someone in the shadows, doubting you. But if you're not careful, you'll waste your entire life chasing their approval, a race you can never win. You'll spend years bending, shrinking, molding yourself into a shadow, just to be accepted, just to hear someone say you're enough. But let me tell you the truth that will set you free. If you spend your life waiting for validation, you will never truly live. You will only perform. Because the more you seek their approval, the more power you hand away. The more you crave their applause, the more you become a prisoner to opinions that were never worth chasing. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause to know who you are. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you take full control of your life. It's the moment you realize the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold of yourself. If you believe in yourself, that's enough. If you respect yourself, that's enough. If deep down you know you are capable, worthy, valuable, you don't need another soul to confirm it. So I'm asking you now, right now, do you believe it? Do you? When you stop seeking validation, everything shifts. You start making choices based on what sets your soul on fire, not what will please someone else. You stop second-guessing yourself. You move with conviction, with clarity, with the strength that comes from the core of who you are. And yes, some people won't like it. Some will call you arrogant. Some will say you've changed. But you haven't changed. You've simply stopped needing their validation. You've pulled your roots from their shallow soil and planted them deep within yourself. And that makes them uncomfortable because it means they can no longer control how you see yourself. They can no longer pull the strings. Your value doesn't shrink because someone else refuses to see it. Your worth isn't tied to their ability to recognize it. You are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to prove it. You just need to own it. And when you do, when you stand up and claim it, everything around you starts to change. Because when you stop seeking validation, you start living for yourself. And that is the most powerful rebirth you could ever experience. This is more than a video. This is a contract with yourself. If you're ready to sign it, let me know in the comments with one word: enough. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to take a deep breath. Feel the new air in your lungs, the air of freedom. The road ahead is yours, truly yours. It won't always be easy, but it will be yours. You will walk with purpose. You will speak with truth. You will protect your peace with ferocity. You were born to build. You were born to rise. You were born to become. So go forth, walk tall, speak your truth. Protect your energy, choose yourself unapologetically every single day, and never ever forget, the world doesn't change how it treats you. You change how you treat yourself, and the world has no choice but to follow.